The year was 2157. Earth was no longer the blue planet it once was. Too many people, too few resources. Cities stretched over what used to be forests. The oceans rose higher each year. Tae-woo Kim looked out the window of his lab at the Korean Space Agency. Rain fell hard on the protective dome that covered most of Seoul. Water was strictly controlled now, like everything else. "Dr. Kim, the test results are ready," said his assistant, bringing him back to the present. Tae-woo nodded and walked to the main computer. The screen showed what he had been hoping to see for the past 15 years. The numbers were right. His theory worked. "Run it again," he said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. 5 minutes later, the same results appeared. Tae-woo allowed himself a smile. He had just changed the future of humanity. Across the city, Hyun Park couldn't sleep. The astronomer had spent the night confirming her own discovery. The large telescope on the moon had sent data about a planet in the Proxima Centauri system, a planet with water, atmosphere, and temperatures that humans could survive in. Hyun picked up her phone to call her boss, then looked at the time. 3:27 a.m. It could wait until morning. She lay back down, but knew sleep wouldn't come. A real, habitable planet beyond our solar system. It was no longer just a theory. 2 weeks later, Tae-woo and Hyun stood in the same room for the first time. Around them sat the 12 members of the United Earth Council, formed 5 years ago when countries finally realized that fighting over what was left made no sense. "Let me understand this clearly," said the council leader. "Dr. Kim, you have found a way to travel faster than light." "Yes," said Tae-woo. "My team has created a drive that bends space-time in a new way. We can reach speeds that would get us to Proxima Centauri in about 4 years. And Dr. Park, you have found a planet there that we could live on." Hyun nodded. "The data shows it has liquid water and an atmosphere we could breathe with minor help. The gravity is slightly higher than Earth's, but within what humans can adapt to." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. 6 months later, the construction of the spaceship Pathfinder was complete. Built in orbit around Earth, it was the largest vessel humans had ever made. 300 people had been chosen from a pool of millions of volunteers. Scientists, engineers, doctors, farmers. Everyone needed to start a new colony. Tae-woo supervised the installation of the FTL drive personally. Hyun brought her team's detailed maps and studies of their destination. Captain Jae-ho Kang, selected to lead the mission, addressed his crew the night before launch. "Tomorrow, we leave not just Earth, but our entire solar system. We go farther than any human has ever gone. We do this not for glory or curiosity alone, but for the survival of our species." He looked at the faces before him, some excited, others afraid, all determined. Earth is dying. We all know this. But humanity doesn't have to die with it. We carry the hopes of billions. What we learn, what we discover, will be sent back to help those we leave behind. In her quarters, Hyun looked at a picture of her family. Her parents were too old to make the journey. Her brother had chosen to stay and work on Earth's environmental problems. Would she ever see them again? Tae-woo checked the drive systems one last time. His life's work would either save humanity or fail spectacularly. The pressure should have crushed him, but instead, he felt strangely calm. The next morning, as the sun rose over Earth, the Pathfinder fired its engines. First came the steady burn of conventional rockets, taking them away from Earth's orbit. Then, when they passed Mars, Captain Kang gave the order. "Activate the Kim drive." Tae-woo pressed the sequence. The stars around them stretched like rubber bands, and then the universe itself seemed to fold. The Pathfinder leaped forward, carrying the first humans to travel faster than light. The journey to save humanity had begun. 4 years passed on the Pathfinder. The crew settled into routines. They grew food in special rooms. They fixed things that broke. They studied the stars they passed. Tae-woo spent most days checking the FTL drive. He was proud that it worked so well, but always worried something might go wrong. Hei-yun updated her maps as they got closer to Proxima Centauri. The planet she had discovered looked better and better in the ship's powerful telescopes. Captain Jeho ran daily drills. "We must be ready for anything," he often said. No one knew what anything might mean so far from home. One normal day changed everything. "Captain, to the bridge immediately," came the urgent call over the ship's speakers. Jeho ran from his quarters. When he reached the bridge, he saw his crew staring at the main screen. "What is that?" he asked, looking at the strange shape that had appeared in front of them. "It appeared 2 minutes ago, sir," said the officer on duty. "It's about 3 times our size, and it's just sitting there." The object was smooth and oval-shaped, with no visible engines or windows. It glowed with a soft blue light. "Are we receiving any signals?" Jeho asked. "Nothing, sir. We've tried all frequencies." Jeho turned to communications. "Send a simple greeting, audio and visual." For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the blue glow around the alien ship brightened. A beam of light shot out, not hitting the Pathfinder but stopping just in front of it. "Captain," said Ta Wu, who had joined them on the bridge, "I think they want us to fly into that light." "That seems dangerous," Jeho replied. "If they wanted to hurt us, they could have done it already," Hei-yun pointed out. Jeho considered for a moment, then nodded. "Helm, take us forward. Slowly. Be ready to reverse course on my command." The Pathfinder eased into the light beam. Suddenly, all the screens on the bridge changed. They showed a room with beings that looked almost human, but not quite. Their skin was pale blue. Their eyes were larger, with no visible whites. Their bodies were taller and thinner than humans. One of the aliens stepped forward and spoke. To everyone's shock, words appeared on the screen below the alien's image, translated into Earth Standard. "Greetings, humans of Earth. We are the Velari. Your presence here is unexpected." Jeho stood straighter. "I am Captain Jeho Kang of the Earth ship Pathfinder. We journey to the planet in the Proxima Centauri system. We come in peace." The alien tilted its head. "Your journey is impressive. Few species develop functional faster than light travel so quickly. How long has your kind been traveling the stars?" Jeho looked at Ta Wu, who stepped forward. "This is our first journey beyond our solar system. I developed the FTL drive 4 Earth years ago." The aliens on the screen looked at each other. Their expressions were hard to read, but something like surprise seemed to pass between them. 4 years, the lead Velari said slowly. "Most species take thousands of years to develop such technology." Hei-yun joined them. "We had no choice. Our planet is dying. We seek a new home." The Velari seemed to consider this. "You have traveled halfway to your destination. Would you be willing to change course? We would like to invite a small group from your ship to visit our homeworld." Jeho hesitated. This was not part of the mission. But meeting aliens who could translate their language instantly and who had clearly mastered space travel long before humans, this could help Earth more than finding one habitable planet. "We accept your invitation," Jeho said. "When would you like us to follow you?" "Now," the Velari replied. "And Captain Jeho Kang, prepare yourself. There are 27 spacefaring species in what we call the Galactic Concord. None of them are quite like humans." The transmission ended. The blue ship turned gracefully and waited. Jeho turned to his crew. "It seems our mission just got more interesting. Set course to follow them." As the Pathfinder changed direction, Hei-yun looked at the stars. "We just made first contact," she whispered. "Everything changes from this moment." Ta Wu nodded. "I wonder what they meant about humans being different." "I guess we'll find out," said Jeho, watching the alien ship glide smoothly ahead of them. The Velari homeworld looked like a jewel in space. Blue oceans covered most of it. White cities rose from green lands. Ships of many shapes and sizes moved in and out of orbit. Sunme Ryu had not expected to use her diplomatic training so soon. As the Pathfinder's chief diplomat, she led the team of 5 humans chosen to meet with the Villari Council. Captain Jaiho, Ta Wu, He Yun, and Security Chief Da Jin Yoon completed the group. Remember, Sun Mai told them as they boarded the shuttle, we represent all of humanity now. What we do here could change our future forever. The shuttle landed in a large open area. Villari officials waited for them. One stepped forward. I am Kel Tora, first speaker of the Villari Council. Welcome to Velar Prime. The humans followed Kel Tora into a tall building made of something like glass, but stronger. Inside, they entered a round room where 12 Villari sat in a circle. Behind them stood aliens of different kinds. Some had scales, others fur. Some had 4 arms or 3 eyes. The humans tried not to stare. These are representatives from the Galactic Concord, Kel Tora explained. They wished to observe our meeting. Sun Mei bowed slightly to the room. We are honored to meet you all. One of the Villari counselors spoke. We have studied your ship's database, which you kindly allowed us to access. Your species is concerning. Sun Mei kept her face calm. Concerning? In what way? Another counselor answered. Most species take thousands of years to develop FTL travel. You did it in a few hundred years from discovering basic science. Your technology is crude but effective. Your adaptability is unmatched. And your history, said a third counselor, is filled with conflict. You fight, adapt, overcome, repeat. It is an unusual pattern. Sun Me saw what was happening. The aliens were afraid of humans, not because humans were stronger, but because they were faster at learning and changing. She needed to turn this fear into an advantage. Council members, she said, it is true that humans adapt quickly. We face problems and solve them. We have made many mistakes, but we learn from them. She walked to the center of the circle. Humans need a new home because we damaged our old one. That is our greatest shame. But now we have a chance to do better, with the wisdom of those who came before us. The room was silent. Even the watching aliens seemed interested. You fear what we might become, Sun Mei continued. That is wise. We sometimes fear that too. But what if our adaptability could help the Concord? What if our way of solving problems could benefit everyone? One of the observers, a reptilian alien, stepped forward. The human makes a valid point. Their approach to problems is unique. My people spent 400 years trying to solve radiation shielding for our ships. Humans did it in 50. Kel Tora raised a hand. What exactly are you proposing, Sun Mei Ryu? Sun Mei looked at her team, then back at the council. A deal. Sponsor Earth's membership in the Galactic Concord. In return, we will share our approach to innovation and problem solving. We will accept reasonable limits on our expansion until we prove ourselves trustworthy. The council members looked at each other. One asked, and if we refuse? Sun Me shrugged. Then we continue to Proxima Centauri alone. We build our colony. More ships will come from Earth. We will meet other species eventually. The question is whether we do so as friends of the Villari or as strangers. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some aliens argued loudly. Others spoke in whispers. Kel Tora finally raised both hands for silence. We will consider your proposal, Sun Me Ryu. For now, you will be our guests. We will have our answer in 3 days. As the humans were led to their quarters, He Yun whispered to Sun Mai, do you think they'll agree? Sun Mai watched the different aliens still arguing in small groups. They will, she said. They're too curious about us to say no. Ta Wu nodded, and too worried about what we might do on our own. Captain Jaiho looked back at the council chamber. Either way, humanity just became part of something much bigger than we ever imagined. 5 years had passed since the Villari agreed to sponsor Earth in the Galactic Concord. The news sent back to Earth changed everything. Humans were not alone, and the stars were now within reach. Earth launched the Colony Initiative. 5 massive ships, much bigger than the Pathfinder, left Earth. Each carried 2,000 people heading to different star systems. Meanwhile, Earth began building a proper spaceport in orbit. Do Hyun Choi stood on the surface of Proxima Centauri, now called New Seoul. The first human colony beyond the solar system was growing fast. As chief engineer, Do Hyun had designed the habitats that protected the colonists from the harsh winds and strange radiation of their new home. The new dome design is ready, he told his team. It uses materials from the planet instead of Earth supplies. We can build 10 more by the end of the year. Do Hyun's designs were special. They could work on many different types of planets. Hot worlds, cold worlds, worlds with too much gravity or too little. His habitats could be changed to fit each place. Already, 3 other human colonies were using his plans. Across the colony, Min Ji-baek watched Valari ships land with supplies. As military advisor, her job was to keep the colony safe. The Concorde had rules about weapons in space, but Min Ji found ways to follow the rules while still being prepared. Their shields have a pattern, she told her security team. Every 30 seconds, there's a small drop in power on the right side, probably a design flaw. Min Ji studied all alien technology she could access, not to attack, but to understand. Humans were new to space. They needed to learn fast. A commotion near the landing area caught her attention. A group of aliens with green scales were arguing with human traders. The Xelton, a species that had a small colony on the other side of the planet, were unhappy about something. Min Ji hurried over. The translator device on her belt let her understand their complaints. The humans are taking too much water from the shared river, the Xelton leader hissed. Our farms are drying up. The human trader looked confused. We only use what the Concorde Agreement allows. Min Ji stepped forward. May I see the agreement? After reading it, she found the problem. The agreement says we can take 20% of the water, she explained. But it doesn't say 20% of what? The river flow. The total water in the system. The Xelton leader's eyes narrowed. It means 20% of the normal flow, not flood season flow, which is what you humans have been measuring. Min Ji nodded. I see the confusion. What if we build a measuring system that both colonies can monitor? And we can help your farms with our irrigation technology to use less water. The Xeltons seemed surprised by the offer. After talking among themselves, they agreed. Later that day, a Concorde observer who had watched the exchange approached Min Ji. Impressive, the alien said. Its species looked like a tall, thin human with 4 arms. Most new species would have insisted they were right or called for Concorde intervention. Min Ji shrugged. Fighting over resources is what nearly destroyed Earth. We're trying to do better here. The observer studied her. Your species' military history is extensive, yet you chose a peaceful solution. War is wasteful, Min Ji said simply. We need the Xelton as neighbors, not enemies. Besides, our irrigation systems really are better. Now they'll see that for themselves. The observer made a gesture like a nod. This is why some in the Concorde are changing their opinion about humans. You solve problems in unexpected ways. As the alien walked away, Min Ji smiled. The Concorde had placed many limits on human expansion, afraid of how quickly humans adapted. But those limits were already starting to loosen. That night, as the strange stars of Proxima Centauri shone over New Seoul, messages arrived from Earth. 3 more colony ships were being prepared. Humanity's reach was growing, 1 star at a time. 20 years after first contact, humans had spread to 12 star systems. Earth was healing, with new technologies from the Concorde helping to clean the air and water. But it was human innovation that truly surprised the galaxy. Dr. Jun Ho-yoon stood before the Concorde's Technology Exchange Committee. The room was filled with aliens from many species, all watching the human with curious eyes. The new FTL drive is 40% faster than our original design, Jun-ho explained. A trip that took 4 years now takes just over 2 years. A Velari committee member leaned forward. How did you achieve this so quickly? Our engineers have been improving our drives for centuries, with much smaller gains. Junho smiled. We looked at the problem differently. Instead of trying to bend space more efficiently, we found a way to slip between the folds we create. It's like taking a shortcut through the shortcuts. The aliens muttered among themselves. This was the pattern with humans. They didn't follow the normal paths of development. They jumped ahead in unexpected ways. On the agricultural colony of Greenhaven, biologist Lun Jinam walked through fields of strange plants. They weren't from Earth, nor were they native to this planet. They were something new. These hybrids grow in soils that would kill Earth plants, she told the visiting Sultan farmers. And they produce 3 times the food of your traditional crops. The Sultan examined the plants with their 4 eyes. How many growing seasons did this take to develop? One asked. Just 6, Yunji replied. We combined Earth genetics with local plants, then added some traits from Velari grains. The Sultan looked at each other in surprise. Their species had been farming for thousands of years. Yet this human had created new food sources in just 3 years. Would you share this technology? The lead Sultan asked. Yunji nodded. Of course, food shouldn't be kept secret. We're already sending seeds to 4 other species who have asked. News of human innovation spread through the Concord. What had started as a committee to watch humans had become a center for collaboration. Species that rarely work together now joined human-led projects. In the Concord Central Hub, a massive space station where representatives from all species met, Ambassador Hai Jin Quan noticed the change. 5 years ago, they put us in the smallest meeting room, she told her aide. Now they've moved us next to the founding species. The aide, a young diplomat named Wanil Park, nodded. The Draconid representative complained about it yesterday, said we haven't earned our place yet. Hai Jin frowned. The Draconid Imperium was one of the oldest and most powerful groups in the Concord. They were a proud reptilian species who valued tradition and age. To them, humans were children who talked too much and moved too fast. Keep an eye on them, she said. They've opposed every proposal we've made. Later that day, Hai Jin met with the Velari ambassador, who had become a friend over the years. The Draconid are sending more ships to the borders near your colony of Harmony, the Velari said quietly. They say it's just a military exercise. Hai Jin felt a chill. Harmony was one of the newest human colonies on the edge of Draconid space. The Concord had approved it, but the Draconid had objected. What do you think? She asked. The Velari's large eyes blinked slowly. I think they are testing you. The Draconid don't like change, and humans bring nothing but change. 23 species now use your FTL improvements. 15 have adopted your agricultural methods. You've solved problems that some have struggled with for generations. We're just trying to help, Hai Jin said. I know, the Velari replied. That's what makes humans different. Most species guard their advantages. You share them. It's changing the balance of power in the Concord. The Draconid don't like that. Hai Jin looked out at the stars visible through the station's large windows. Human colonies shone among them, growing and thriving. But now a shadow loomed over that bright future. The friendliness of most species couldn't erase the danger from those who saw humans as a threat. Warn Harmony, she told her aide. Tell them to be prepared, just in case. The warning came too late. 3 days after Ambassador Hai Jin's message reached Harmony, the Draconid attacked. Captain Hyunwoo Lee was having breakfast when the alarm sounded. He ran to the bridge of his ship, the Determination, one of only 2 defense vessels protecting the colony. Report, he shouted as he entered. 6 Draconid warships just appeared at the edge of our system, his first officer said. They're heading straight for the colony. No response to our communications. Hyunwoo's mind raced. The Determination was built for exploration and light defense. It was no match for 6 Draconid warships. But he had to try. Alert the colony. Begin evacuation to the emergency shelters, and get me a direct line to the Draconid lead ship. On the colony's surface, engineer Seijin Ko heard the sirens. She was supervising the new mining operation when the emergency message reached her team. Alien attack. That can't be right, one of her workers said. The Concorde wouldn't allow it. Seijin looked up at the sky, where tiny flashes of light showed ships moving in orbit. The Concorde is 3 days away at best. We need to protect ourselves now. She looked at the mining equipment around her. Large drills, energy shields to protect workers from falling rocks, power generators. Not weapons, but everyone listen, she said. I have an idea. In orbit, the Determination moved to intercept the Draconid ships. Captain Hyunwoo knew he couldn't win a direct fight, but he didn't need to win. He just needed to buy time. Approach pattern Delta, he ordered. Make it look like we're trying to run away, then loop back around. The Draconid followed, just as he hoped. They were so focused on chasing his ship that they didn't notice when he led them through a dust cloud. The cloud wasn't thick enough to damage their ships, but it covered them with a fine layer of particles. Now, Hyunwoo ordered. His ship fired its lasers, not at the Draconid ships directly, but at the dust covering them. The particles heated up instantly, causing small explosions across the hulls of the alien vessels. Not enough to destroy them, but enough to confuse their sensors. The Draconid ships began firing randomly, trying to hit the Determination. Most shots missed. One grazed the human ship's engine, causing it to spin. Captain, we can't take another hit like that, his engineer reported. We just need a little more time, Hyunwoo said. On the surface, Seijin had worked a miracle. The mining shields, designed to protect against falling rocks, now formed a dome over the main colony. She had linked them together and powered them with the mining generators. It won't stop their biggest weapons, she told the colony leader, but it might survive the smaller ones. The first shots from the Draconid ships hit the shield. It flickered but held. Meanwhile, Special Forces Commander Da Jung-oh led a small team on a desperate mission. While Captain Hyunwoo distracted the Draconid, Da Jung's team used a tiny shuttle to approach the lead enemy ship. Remember, he told his 5 soldiers, we need proof. The Concorde won't act without evidence that the Draconid planned this attack. They attached their shuttle to the Draconid ship using magnetic clamps. Cutting through a maintenance hatch, they slipped inside. The aliens were large, reptilian creatures with armored skin. Da Jung's team moved silently through the ship, avoiding patrols. Finally, they reached the command center. Hidden above the room in a ventilation shaft, Da Jung recorded the Draconid commander speaking to his captains. Once we destroy this colony, we will know how humans fight, the commander said. This test will show us their weaknesses before we launch our main attack. Da Jung had what he needed. Now they just had to escape. Back at the colony, the shield was failing. The Draconid had realized what was happening and focused their fire on one spot. We can't hold much longer, Seijin reported. Just then, a message came through from Captain Hyunwoo. Help is coming. Hold on. In the distance, ships appeared. Many ships. The Velari had arrived, with vessels from 3 other Concorde species. They surrounded the Draconid, weapons ready. The attack stopped. The crisis wasn't over, but harmony would survive. And now they had proof of the Draconid's true plans. The grand hall of the Concorde was rarely full. Today, every seat was taken. Representatives from all 27 spacefaring species had come for this special meeting. Ambassador Jae-hee Yang stood alone at the center of the hall. Behind her, on a large screen, played the recording that Da Jung-oh had captured on the Draconid ship. This was not a border dispute, Jae-hee said when the recording ended. This was a planned test attack. The Draconid wanted to see how humans would fight back before launching a larger war. The Draconid ambassador rose from his seat. His scales glittered under the bright lights. This recording proves nothing, he said. It could be fake. Humans are known for their tricks. Jahi had expected this. She nodded to her aide, who pressed a button. Another recording began to play. This one showed older meetings from years before humans joined the Concord. In them, the Draconid could be seen making secret deals with other species, breaking Concord rules. "Where did you get those?" the Draconid ambassador demanded, his voice shaking. "The Villari shared them with us," Jahi answered, "and the Xelton, and 3 other species who were tired of your threats. For centuries, the Draconid have manipulated the Concord from the shadows. You've kept species fighting each other so you could stay in power." Murmurs filled the hall. Many representatives looked at each other in surprise or guilt. "We humans are new here," Jahi continued. "We have much to learn. But we've also brought new ideas and solutions. We've shared our technology freely. And now we've exposed the truth that some have hidden for too long." A tall, plant-like alien stood up. "The human speaks truth. My species struggled with food shortages for generations. Human agricultural methods solved this in 5 years. When we asked for help, they gave it without demanding anything in return." Another alien, small and blue, rose next. "The humans improved our medical technology. They cured a disease that had plagued us for centuries." More and more species began to speak, each telling how humans had helped them. The Draconid ambassador grew angrier with each story. "They are changing everything too fast," he finally shouted. "The Concord has traditions, rules. Humans ignore them all." Jahi shook her head. "We follow the spirit of your rules, if not always the letter. We believe in helping others and solving problems together. If that's wrong, then perhaps the rules need to change." The head of the Concord Council, a wise old Villari, stood slowly. "Today, we have seen the truth about the Draconid attack, but we have also seen a larger truth about humanity's place among us." The hall fell silent as the Villari continued. "When humans first came to us, many feared their quick growth and adaptation. We placed limits on them. Today, I propose we remove those limits. Let humans join the Concord as full equals." The vote was quick. 23 species voted yes. Only the Draconid and their closest allies refused. As the meeting ended, the Draconid ambassador approached Jahi. "This isn't over," he hissed. "You've made an enemy today." Jahi met his gaze calmly. "We didn't want enemies. We wanted friends. You chose your path, not us." Later, as Jahi prepared to return to Earth with the good news, she was approached by a young physicist, Yi-Jun Park. "Ambassador, I need to speak with you privately," he said, his voice low. "I've been studying the Concord star charts. There's something strange about them." "Strange how?" Jahi asked. Yi-Jun looked around to make sure no one was listening. "Whole sections of the galaxy are missing. Thousands of stars, just not there. I think the Concord is hiding something even bigger than the Draconid plots, something they don't want any species to find." Jahi felt a chill. What could be so important that they would hide entire sections of the galaxy? "I don't know," Yi-Jun replied, "but I think we need to find out." "We shouldn't be here," said Dong Hyuk-shin, looking at the empty space on the view screen. As communications specialist on this secret mission, he felt nervous about the silence from Concord space behind them. "That's exactly why we need to be here," replied archaeologist Su Min Wong. After learning about the missing star charts, she had convinced the Earth Council to send an expedition into the uncharted space. Their ship, the Seeker, was small but fast. Captain Bo-ra Kim had chosen a crew of just 15 people. Each was an expert in their field. All had agreed to the risks. "Sensors are picking up something," reported the science officer. "A star system ahead. It's not on any Concord chart." The crew looked at each other. They had found one of the hidden places. But why was it hidden? As they entered the system, they saw a small yellow star with 4 planets. The third planet glowed blue and green, much like Earth. "Life signs?" asked Captain Kim. Yes, said the science officer, but not many. And strange energy readings, too. They moved closer. The planet looked peaceful. Oceans covered most of it. Large islands dotted the waters, but no cities were visible. No lights on the night side, no signs of modern civilization. I'm detecting structures, said the science officer. Very old ones. Su-min could barely contain her excitement. We need to go down there. These could be ruins from an unknown species. Captain Kim nodded. Prepare a landing team. But be careful. We don't know why the Concorde hid this place. The landing team included Su-min, Dong-hyuk, and 3 others. They took a shuttle to the surface, landing near the largest structure they had detected. What they found left them speechless. A massive building made of a strange, silvery metal stood before them. It had clearly been built by intelligent beings, but it was unlike any architecture humans or known aliens used. Parts of it had crumbled, showing it was very old. This writing, Su-min said, running her fingers over symbols carved into the entrance. I've never seen anything like it. Inside, they found rooms filled with strange machines. Most were broken or dead, but a few still glowed with faint power. In the center of the building was a large round room. In the middle stood a pillar of crystal. Su-min approached it carefully. It's some kind of data storage, she said, scanning it with her tools. And it's still working. Dong-hyuk set up a device to try to read the data. To everyone's surprise, the crystal began to glow brighter. A hologram appeared above it, showing star systems and what looked like DNA structures. This is incredible, Su-min whispered. This shows genetic patterns from different species, including, wait, that's human DNA. The hologram shifted, showing more information. Su-min worked quickly to understand what she was seeing. I think this place was built by a species that lived millions of years ago, she said. They called themselves the originators, and according to this data, they seeded life throughout the galaxy. Like planting gardens, one of the team asked. Yes, but more than that, Su-min replied. They engineered different species on different worlds. And humans, according to this, humans have more of the originator's own genetic material than any other species. The implications were enormous. If humans were more directly descended from these ancient beings, it might explain their quick adaptation and innovation. Suddenly, alarms sounded from their ship in orbit. Captain to landing team, came Kim's urgent voice. Draconid ships just appeared in the system. They must have followed us. You need tow. The communication cut off. Moments later, they saw Draconid shuttles entering the atmosphere. They can't get this information, Su-min said. It would change everything in the Concorde. Dong-hyuk nodded and began working on his communication device. I can broadcast everything we found on all Concorde channels. Even if they catch us, the truth will get out. As the Draconid ships landed nearby, Dong-hyuk pressed the final button. Done. Every species in the Concorde will know what's here, and what it means about humans. Su-min looked at the crystal pillar one last time before Draconid soldiers burst into the room. We found our true ancestors, she said quietly. And now the galaxy will never be the same. Admiral Ji-won Lee stood on the bridge of the Horizon, Earth's largest battleship. Around him, a fleet of 200 ships prepared for battle. But they were not alone. Ships from 16 other Concorde species had joined them, forming the largest fleet in galactic history. The Draconid have not responded to our demands, his communications officer reported. They refuse to release our people. Ji-won nodded. After Dong-hyuk's broadcast reached the Concorde, everything had changed. The truth about the originators and humanity's connection to them had shocked every species. Most had responded with wonder and curiosity. The Draconid had responded with fear and anger. All ships, prepare to move, Ji-won ordered. Our mission is clear. Rescue the prisoners and secure the originator site. The fleet jumped to FTL speed. When they arrived at the hidden system, they found 30 Draconid warships waiting. The battle began immediately. But something unexpected happened. As the fighting started, several Draconid ships turned their weapons on other Draconid vessels. "Admiral," the censor officer called out, "some Draconid ships are fighting each other." On the main communication channel, a Draconid captain appeared. "This is Captain Vextor of the Draconid ship Truth Seeker. We have rebelled against the Imperium. The other species under Draconid rule are rising up as well. We fight with you now, not against you." The battle turned quickly. With the rebel Draconid helping, Admiral G1's fleet broke through to the planet. Marines landed and freed the captured human team. Su Min Wang and her colleagues were safe, though they had been questioned harshly. 1 month later, representatives from all Concord species gathered at the originator site. The planet was now called Genesis and was under the protection of a joint Concord force. Su Min led the gathered ambassadors through the ancient building. "We've translated more of the originator records," she explained. "They were a peaceful species who explored the galaxy millions of years ago. They found no other intelligent life, so they decided to create it. They seeded hundreds of worlds with life based on their own genetic code," she continued. "But they designed each species differently. Some for strength, some for wisdom, some for long life." A Velari ambassador asked, "And humans, what were we designed for?" "Adaptability," Su Min answered. "The originators saw that the galaxy was always changing. They wanted at least one species that could change with it. Humans carry more of their adaptive genes than any other species." The former Draconid captain, now representing the newly formed Draconid Republic, spoke next. "So humans were meant to be special, to rule over others." Hyun Ji-moon, Earth's leading terraforming expert, stepped forward. "No, we weren't meant to rule. We were meant to help, to solve problems, to find new ways when old ways fail." She touched a control panel, and a hologram appeared showing a dead world being transformed into a living one. "This is what we've been developing," she said. "Technology to restore planets damaged by war or pollution. The originators gave us the ability to adapt. We choose to use that ability to help all species adapt and thrive." Admiral J1 Lee, now heading the new Concord Defense Force, addressed the gathering. 100 years ago, Earth was dying. We thought we had no future. Now we know we have the oldest heritage in the galaxy, and yet we are still young in so many ways." He looked around at the representatives of so many different worlds. "The originators are gone, but their legacy lives in all of us. Each species has gifts to share. Together, we can become something greater than they ever imagined." As the ambassadors left the ancient hall, thousands of ships were already heading toward the galactic core, where more originator sites waited to be discovered. Human ships led the way, but they didn't travel alone. Every expedition included members from many species, all working together. The stars had once seemed so far away to humans trapped on a dying Earth. Now they were like stepping stones to a future no one could have imagined, a future where humanity's greatest strength wasn't their connection to the ancient past, but their ability to bring everyone with them into a better tomorrow.